The revealing of the establishment of the beast system. As I sit here and take in all of the news from every direction, all I see is deceivers, liars, corporate media, cover-ups, agenda, all pushing the same propaganda. It's time for a game changer, a visionary, an innovative person who changes the way that people think of the situations. It's time for Game Changer TV, telling it like it is. Get in the game. I have been met with so much opposition trying to get this video out, so I know it's important. Thank you for tuning in to Game Changer TV. I'm your host, Terri Lynn, and this is the channel where every day we're telling it like it is. Today is February 1st, 2026. If I have to jump up, a rat is in my house again, and I do not like rats, okay? Been dealing with that. The cold, being too cold to sit here to work on a video. Dealing with Josh, the hospitals. He's supposed to get out tomorrow. It's a lot going on, but this video, when I sat down to make it, was going to be a lot shorter, and I felt like it would not be doing it justice. It would not be painting the full picture of what is unfolding right in front of our eyes, and I feel the urgency and the necessity to expose what is happening. So please go get you a notebook. This video is going to be a lot of questions that I ask for y'all to see the answer. So get a notebook, write down the questions that I'm asking, so when the video goes off, you'll be able to refresh your memory by your notes. Let's jump into this. The revealing of the establishment of the beast system. Why is the last book of the Bible called the Revelation? The last book of the Bible is called Revelation, for apocalypse from the Greek apocalypse, because it unveils or discloses heavenly secrets, specifically the ultimate victory of Jesus Christ and the final unfolding of God's plan for humanity. It signifies the unveiling of Jesus Christ. Meaning of the word, derived from the Greek apocalypsis, it means to pull the veil off or the unveiling. The message to the church. It serves as a prophetic, encouraging, and corrective letter to the 7 specific churches in Asia Minor regarding their faithfulness to Jesus Christ amidst the persecution they faced during the time of the Antichrist. Y'all, and it is like we are in the pop-up Bible, the book of Revelation edition, because end time prophecy is coming alive. Let's get this thing going. According to the Bible, does the Antichrist appear before Jesus' return? Yes, according to the Bible, the Antichrist will appear and rise to power before the second coming of Christ. 2 Thessalonians 2, 1 through 4 states that the day of Jesus, or the day of the Lord, will not come until the man of sin, the Antichrist, is revealed, who will desecrate the temple and claim to be God. According to the Bible, does the Antichrist have control over politics, financial system, and religion? Yes, according to biblical prophecy, specifically Revelation 13 and Daniel, the Antichrist is described as a future world leader who gains global authority in controlling politics, the economic financial system, the buying and selling, and religion, demanding worship. He is depicted as a dictator demanding allegiance. Yes or no? According to the Bible, are Satan and the Antichrist both usurpers? According to the biblical interpretation and theology, both Satan and the Antichrist are considered usurpers, as they seek to take authority, worship, and dominion that rightfully belongs to God and Jesus Christ. The Antichrist, identified as the ultimate human agent of Satan, the beast in the Revelation, who is empowered by Satan, will seek world domination and demand worship, effectively attempting to usurp the role of the true Messiah. According to the Bible, will the Antichrist assume unrestrained earthly power? Now, y'all, this video is going to blow your mind. Yes, according to the Bible, the Antichrist will assume a period of near unrestrained earthly power during the final 42 months, 3.5 years of the tribulation period, operating with direct authority and power of Satan. According to the Bible, will the Antichrist be a global dictator over the world? Yes, according to biblical interpretation of Revelation 13, the Antichrist, the beast, is described as exercising authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation, creating a global system where no man can buy or sell without his mark. This figure is depicted as a worldwide dictator during the end times. Yes or no? According to the Bible, does the Antichrist take control of society by his mark? Yes, according to the Bible, specifically Revelation 13:16-17, the Antichrist or the false prophet acting for him causes all people to receive a mark on their right hand or in their forehead to control society. This mark is required to buy or sell, meaning it is a tool for economic and societal control to enforce worship of the beast. Is Trump about to assume unrestrained power? And how will we get there from here where we're at today? According to the Bible, does the Antichrist pillage and plunder the world's resources? Yes, according to biblical prophecy, specifically in the book of Daniel and Revelation, the Antichrist is described as a leader who gains control over the world's resources, plunders wealth, and forces global economic system that requires his worship. Controlling treasure, Daniel 11:43 explicitly states, he shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver and over all the precious things. The Antichrist is described as controlling the world economy where no one can buy or sell unless they have his mark. Yes or no? Is Trump going after the world's minerals? Yes, as of early 2026, the Trump administration has launched a major initiative to secure global and domestic mineral resources, specifically critical minerals like cobalt, nickel, and rare earths, to reduce dependency on China. He's made deals with Ukraine, with Congo, with Australia, with Congo is willing to trade their minerals for peace, with the Ukraine, with the Middle East. Trump is obsessed with critical minerals. There's a new dangerous place he's seeking them. What are rare earth minerals and why does Trump want them? Rare earth minerals power everything from smartphones to missiles, and China dominates their supply. Now global leaders are scrambling to secure them. Yes or no? Does Trump want Greenland's minerals? Yes, as of January 2026, Donald Trump has reiterated interest in acquiring Greenland, explicitly highlighting the inclusion of mineral rights, specifically rare earth elements, in his proposed deal. I had to turn on my heater. I'm cold, my little space heater. So if you hear it, I'm sorry. Yes or no? Is it feasible that Trump is willing to pillage and plunder for the world's minerals? Whether it is feasible that Donald Trump is willing to pillage and plunder for the world's minerals is a subjective question about a potential future action and his personal motivations, and therefore cannot be answered with a simple yes or no. Such a characterization involves interpreting past statements and actions to speculate on future intent, which is a matter of political opinion and debate. Yes or no? Did Trump say he'd take Greenland the easy way or the hard way and he wants their rare earth minerals? Yes, based on reports from early January 2026, President Trump stated that the United States would attempt to acquire Greenland the easy way through a deal or the hard way. He indicated a desire to purchase the territory, stating, "If we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way." Is it plausible that Trump could take drastic actions like war or invading a country to take their rare earth minerals? Based on recent reports, it is considered plausible by some analysts and in public discourse that a Trump administration might take drastic actions ranging from heavy economic coercion and coercion to acquire territory to using military posturing in order to secure critical mineral supplies, specifically due to his stated goals and actions regarding Greenland and China. Define pillage and plundering. Pillage and plundering refers to the violent, illegal seizure of property commonly occurred during wartime or civil unrest. Pillage specifically denotes looting with force, often considered a war crime, while plunder implies the taking of goods, sometimes including personal belongings or resources. Both terms describe, with or without violence, the forcible theft of valuables. Would Trump go to war over rare minerals? Reports suggest that he could. Reports indicate that Trump has considered using force, such as in Greenland, to attain access to the critical mineral rich territories. Trump has invoked the wartime powers to boost domestic production of critical minerals and reduce reliance on China. Trump's approach, often described as a war for minerals, prioritizes securing these resources to counter China's influence, even if it leads to intense geopolitical conflicts. Yes or no? According to the Bible, will Satan give the Antichrist total control over the world's resources? Yes, according to the Bible, specifically Revelation 13:2 through 7 and Daniel 11:38 through 39. Satan, the dragon, gives the Antichrist, the beast, his power, throne, and great authority. Global control. The Antichrist is given global authority over every tribe, people, and language and nation. Economic control, wealth, and resources indicate that the Antichrist will honor a god of fortresses, Satan, with gold and silver and precious stones, and will divide the land for a price. Yes or no? According to the Bible, will Satan give the Antichrist a throne? Yes, according to Revelation 13:2, the dragon, Satan, gives the beast, the Antichrist, his power, his throne, and great authority. This symbolic act represents Satan empowering and controlling the Antichrist to rule during the end times. Will Satan give power of politics, financial system, and religion over to the Antichrist? Yes, according to Christian eschatology, based on the book of Revelation, specifically chapter 13, Satan the dragon gives his power, throne, and great authority to the Antichrist. This authority enables the Antichrist to establish global control over politics and government. He is described as a world leader or dictator, ruling over every tribe, tongue, and nation for a limited time. Financial system, he institutes a system where no one can buy or sell unless they have a mark. He'll have control over religion. A false religion is established that forces the world to worship the Antichrist and Satan. Does the Antichrist get his power directly from Satan? Yes, according to biblical eschatology, specifically Revelation 13:2, the Antichrist, referred to as the beast, receives his power, throne, and great authority directly from the dragon, which symbolizes Satan. He is empowered and influenced by Satan to perform miracles, signs, and wonders to deceive the world. Does a throne represent a seat of power? Now, this is important. May I have your attention, please? Yes, a throne, historically and symbolically, represents a seat of power, authority, and sovereignty, typically used by rulers, monarchs, or in religious contexts to signify elevated status and divine right. Can a throne be a metaphor for power? Yes, a throne is widely recognized as a potent metaphor for power, sovereignty, and authority. So the devil gives the Antichrist a throne, power, sovereignty, and authority, extending far beyond its literal definition as a piece of furniture. Satan will give his man, the Antichrist, a seat of power, a throne, a position to rule over global politics, a global financial system, and religion to be worshiped. Worship Satan and his man or be killed. And what happened when the devil took Jesus to the high place? Trump must have made the deal with the devil, looking at all the natural resources and rare earth minerals. I'll give you all this if you bow down and worship me. But when the devil came to Jesus, tried to make him bow down to worship him, Jesus said, "You shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve," quoting Deuteronomy 6:13, when tempted by Satan to gain worldly power in exchange for worship. This command, found in Matthew 4:10 and Luke 4:8, highlights that exclusive devotion, service, and adoration belong only to God. It emphasizes that true worship requires undivided loyalty. You cannot worship a man and Jesus. A time of choosing is coming. We're in the revelation, in the revealing of the establishment of the beast system. Trump establishes and will head a global board of peace. Yes or no? Could the board of peace be defined as a seat of power? Y'all, Satan gives his man a seat, authority, and power, and a throne. Could the board of peace be defined as a seat of power? Who just gave him the seat? Yes, based on the proposed charter and structure, the Board of Peace, launched January 2026, can be defined as a seat of power. Yes or no? Would the Board of Peace be defined metaphorically as a throne? Yes, based on contemporary critical analysis and media descriptions, the Board of Peace, a U.S. led international organization, initiated, who's it really initiated, by Donald Trump, has been described metaphorically as a throne or an imperial court. Observers frequently define it this way because the board is structured around a three-tier hierarchy crowned by one man, where Donald Trump retains. Yes or no? Does a leader on a throne bow to anyone else's authority? Satan gave him a throne and a seat of power. And a person on a throne does not bow to anyone else. Does a leader on a throne bow to anyone else's authority? No. A leader on a throne symbolizes the highest undisputed authority within their domain. Historically, this meant the ruler was not subject to any other earthly power such as parliament or the church. So Satan is giving him a throne, a seat of power, where he doesn't have to bow down to anybody else because he's the top tier. But there will come a day when he does bow to somebody. Every knee shall bow and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. Trump establishes and will head a global board of peace. Now, this is when the video is going to start getting good. Whew. Trump establishes and will head a board of peace. Could the board of peace address digital ID for global security? Yes. Trump's Board of Peace or a similar governing advisory board can address digital ID for security by focusing on creating secure, privacy respecting, and inclusive digital identification system. Now, y'all, what's 2 Thessalonians say? The arrival of the lawless one to his throne and seat of power. The arrival of the lawless one will be by Satan's workings, with all kinds of miracles and signs and false wonders. Will Satan rule with the Antichrist, who could issue digital IDs? Yes, according to biblical prophecy, Satan will empower and rule alongside the Antichrist. Satan gives the Antichrist his power, throne, and authority to dominate the world for a limited time because specifically during the last 3.5 years of the tribulation, this unholy trinity, Satan, the Antichrist, and the false prophet, will demand global worship. The Antichrist is the usurper. Is the goal of Satan and the Antichrist to enslave humanity? In Christian theology and eschatology, the ultimate goal of Satan and the Antichrist, the ultimate goal, is to usurp God's authority, just like in the garden, and control humanity, which is interpreted as a form of spiritual and physical enslavement. Satan's aim is portrayed as seeking to displace God and promote evil using the Antichrist to rule the world. According to biblical prophecy, the Antichrist will demand worship, establish a new world order, and crush those that do not submit. Could a new world order bring in a digital ID? Yes, global organizations, including the United Nations and the World Economic Forum, are actively promoting digital public infrastructure, which includes digital identification, payment systems, and data exchange platforms. The global initiative, the United Nations, has set a goal to provide legal digital identity for all by 2030. Theoretically, could the Board of Peace vote to implement digital ID? Based on emerging and early 2026 reports regarding the Board of Peace, an international organization established in January 2026, it is theoretically possible for such a body to implement a digital ID systems within its mandates, though this would likely focus on security, surveillance, and access control in specific regions rather than a global mandatory adoption. It's never global at first, is it? Yes or no? Theoretically, could Trump's Board of Peace vote to mandate digital ID globally? Yes, based on information regarding the Board of Peace launched in 2026, the answer is yes, theoretically. Here's the context. Authority. The board is designed to act quickly outside the framework of the United Nations to address conflicts, making it technically capable of proposing new global security standards such as a digital ID system. 2 Thessalonians 5:3. It says that they said the digital ID could be used for peace and security. When they say peace and safety, when they say it, a digital ID can be used for peace and safety. And when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So I had to change some words up to get an answer. Omitting any ethical or legal challenges theoretically could Trump's Board of Peace and all those leaders mandate and implement a digital ID globally. Theoretically, yes. If ethical, legal, and sovereign challenges are completely omitted, a coalition of powerful leaders, potentially utilizing structures like the Board of Peace, could mandate and implement a digital ID system globally. Such a system would likely be driven by a combination of high level political and financial and security motivations aimed at standardizing and controlling data according to 2025 landscape. Theoretical framework for global implementations, the Board of Peace mechanism, such a body could function as a one man institution. And who is at the top of the one man institution? Are a coalition of powerful states that bypass traditional, slower, and multilateral organizations like the UN. The mandate and coercion. Implementation would likely involve tying access to basic services like your money and food and the right to travel directly to your digital ID, creating an implicitly mandatory system, even if not explicitly forced, a common practice described in the 2025 Digital ID research. The infrastructure already exists with over a billion people currently lacking identity. A global digital ID would use biometric data, fingerprints, facial recognition, blockchain technology to create a single unified system. Could digital ID on the phone evolve into an implantable RFID chip? Could a digital ID on the phone evolve into an RFID chip implant? Yes, a digital ID on the phone can, and in some niche pioneering cases already has, evolved into an RFID chip implant. This evolution is driven by the demand for maximum convenience and the integration of digital services directly into the body. Are we ready? Could an implantable RFID chip be monitored to ensure loyalty to the Antichrist? Yes. Technically, implantable RFID chips are used to store data, manage access, and can, in theory, be used for surveillance or tracking when connected to a network. Could that implantable RFID chip also be programmed to hold digital ID and digital currency? Yes, an implantable RFID chips are already used for those purposes, acting as digital wallets, ID, and secure, encrypted, and linked medical storage. Now remember, the Antichrist wants complete authority politically, financially, and religiously, and a digital ID is going to facilitate this. Could an implantable RFID chip allow for the interaction for tokenized assets? Yes, an implanted RFID chip can absolutely allow for interaction with tokenized assets. Implantable chips are already being used for tasks requiring secure authentication, such as opening doors, storing contact information, and making contactless payments, and are increasingly viewed as a tool to bridge physical and digital ownership. Will tokenization of assets happen soon? Asset like your house, your car, your art collection, your computers, your gun collection, your coin collection, your whatever, you know, that's going to be tokenized. Asset tokenization is rapidly accelerating in 2026, transitioning from pilot programs to core mainstream capital market infrastructure, with major financial institutions like BlackRock and JP Morgan heavily involved. 2026 is viewed as a breakthrough year with significant growth in tokenized funds, real world assets, and blockchain based settlements. Does tokenization of all assets set value to physical property and converting to digital token to the blockchain? Yes, tokenization of assets involves linking the economic value of the physical asset to a digital token on a blockchain. This process converts ownership rights into digital tokens, often allowing for fractional ownership of real estate, art, or financial instruments, enabling more liquid and efficient trading. The real world assets will allow for fractional ownership. That means more than one person could be invested in your house or in your car or in your collections. And 2026 could be a breakout year to put a digital value to your assets, and it will be digital ownership. Theoretically, yes or no, could an implantable RFID chip be programmed to withhold digital payments? Yes, theoretically. An implantable RFID chip connected to a digital payment backend can have its payment functionally revoked, disabled, or locked by the issuer, preventing transactions for any reason, including failure to comply with established rules or conditions. The chip acts as a token which the system can deauthorize. Are y'all ready? You disobey, everything's going to get cut off. Yes or no? Is it conceivable that in the future an implanted RFID chip will be necessary for interaction of your tokenized assets? Yes, it is conceivable. While currently considered niche, speculative, and ethically controversial, the integration of implanted RFID chips for interacting with your digital assets, such as using a subdermal chip as a hardware wallet or for authentication, is already technically possible and being tested. Proponents suggest that in the future, such technology could provide a secure, always with you method for identity verification, accessing tokenized assets, or making payments. Yes or no? Is it plausible that in the future, that without implanted RFID chip, a person will not be able to access your private tokenized assets? Yes, it is theoretically possible. I'm going to have to start going fast because I've got 300 slides and I'm only at 55. So I got to start talking fast. Yes or no? Is tokenization the end goal for digital currency? Yes, tokenization, the conversion of assets into digital tokens on a blockchain, is widely viewed as the end goal for the future of finance, aiming to revolutionize efficiency, liquidity, and settlement. It enables 24/7 programmable, transparent infrastructure, representing a major evolution in money and asset management. What assets can be tokenized? Any real world asset can be represented digitally to be tracked, traded, or sold. Is the end goal of tokenization to establish a digital economy? Yes, tokenization is widely considered a key driver in transitioning to digital economy by converting your real-world assets like real estate, stocks, art, and data into digital tokens on the blockchain. Theoretically, could tokenization of all assets make it easier for government confiscation? Yes, theoretically. Yes, theoretically, the tokenization of all real world assets could make it easier for government confiscation. By moving assets onto the blockchain ledgers, they become more transparent and, if designed with centralized oversight, allow for immediate, automated, and remote seizing, freezing, and transferring of all assets by authority compared to traditional fragmented and analog records. Theoretically, could tokenization of all assets make it easier for government confiscation of assets for non-compliance of their rules or laws? Yes, theoretically, the tokenization of assets representing ownership of real-world assets as digital tokens on the blockchain could make it easier for governments to confiscate assets for non-compliance with laws. Do y'all hear that? Non-compliance with their laws, and you will lose everything. The Antichrist is the usurper. Now remember we talked about this? Their end goal is to enslave humanity. According to the Bible, does Satan want to enslave people? According to the Bible, Satan is described as an adversary who deceives the whole world and acts as a slave master to those who follow him. Biblical narratives indicate his intent is to trap, control, and tempt people to live in obedience to him rather than God. According to the Bible, could the new financial system be one of enslavement? Yes, according to the book of Revelation, specifically chapters 13 and 18, the Bible describes a future global and compulsory economic system associated with the mark of the beast. It indicates that this system will be used to enforce worship, and those who do not comply will be forbidden from buying or selling, creating a system of severe economic coercion and, in effect, a form of financial enslavement for many. Additionally, scripture notes that this end time system, Babylon, will involve the trafficking of bodies and souls of men. According to the Bible, does Jesus want to free people from bondage? So why would you get entangled into it? If you know it's a bondage slave system before it even comes, why would you even want to entangle yourself in it when God's hope and role and goal and work is to free people? According to the Bible, Jesus intends to free people from spiritual bondage, particularly the bondage of sin, fear, and the past. Jesus declared his mission included proclaiming liberty to the captives and setting those who are oppressed free. And if the Son sets free, you shall be free indeed. Spiritual freedom. While believers may suffer in this coming system, while believers may suffer physical persecution, including unable to buy or sell, they are freed from the spiritual deception and moral corruption of this coming system. The Bible advises believers to refuse the mark of the beast, which represents allegiance to this evil system, and promises those who remain faithful to Jesus will be victorious. The call to come ye out from among them, the scripture warns believers to come out of Babylon's system, often equated with the beast system, and remain unpolluted by its idolatry. In summary, the biblical narrative paints the beast system as temporary evil authority, while Jesus' salvation offers spiritual liberation and final triumph over it. Is it possible that tokenization could be a form of digital enslavement? Yes, while tokenization is primarily designed as technology for securing data, increasing liquidity, and representing asset ownership, experts and commentators have noted that it introduces risk related to control, privacy, and the potential for a digital master scenario if individuals do not own their digital identities. Is Trump for tokenization of assets? Yes, based on actions and statements from his 2025 administration and his affiliated business ventures, Donald Trump is supporting the expansion of asset tokenization, a bondage system. Will crypto usher in a digital economy? Yes, cryptocurrencies and underlying blockchain technologies are actively driving the shift towards a digital economy by enabling decentralized finance. And Trump wants to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world, the enslavement center of the world. Y'all see Bitcoin and a peace sign? Can crypto help bring world peace and security? Cryptocurrency offers potential to foster world peace and security. When they say peace and security, sudden destruction is going to come upon you. Do not believe the crypto lie. Do not believe it, no matter who is promoting it. And look at some of the promoters. Okay? Is Elon Musk promoting it? Yes, Elon Musk wants crypto. Jim Jordan, who Sasha Riley talked about, wants crypto that's going to enslave people. Steve Bannon wants crypto. Bill Gates wants crypto. He says you're going to need it in this new social contract that's coming to participate. Does Richard Branson support digital currency? Yes, he supports it. Does Lindsey Graham want cryptocurrency? Yes, based on early 2026, he strongly supports it. Does Trump support digital currency? Yes, as of 2025, 2026, Trump strongly supports digital currencies. I put all the people promoting digital currency are the same people that were involved with an island that derived pleasure from imprisoning people and controlling people and torturing people. And that was on a small scale compared to applying slavery and torture and eliminating access to things on a global scale. But all the little people that used to meet in that little meeting and torture and terrorize people are all now out here in the free world wanting to further their agenda. And there's Christians aligning themselves with these people's agenda. Are Christians supporting crypto? Yes, many Christians are engaging with and supporting cryptocurrency, the enslavement system, though views are sharply divided. Some embrace it as decentralized tool for financial stewardship and digital innovation, while some churches even accepting crypto donations. Why are people following these men with dark hearts and evil actions and intentions down the road they're wanting to take humanity down? These are dark, evil people. Why follow people with dark hearts into the system that they are building to enslave people and lead them away from God? A strong delusion, even for people who call themselves Christians. 2 Thessalonians 2:10-12. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth. People are showing them the truth and they don't want it, that they might be saved. And for this cause, God shall send them a strong delusion. The most frightening words in the Bible, I think. That if you don't want to know the truth, God will send a strong delusion so that you can believe a lie and be damned. And for this cause, God shall send them a strong delusion that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned, who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. In the future, will tokenization of personal assets be tied to your digital currency and your digital ID? Yes, according to current industry projections and trends. Tokenization as inevitable. Financial leaders have described the shift to tokenized assets as a freight train that will likely become standard for financial infrastructure, with projections suggesting 10 to 16 trillions at his disposal in tokenized securities by 2030, the same time that they all want digital ID to be in full operation. Do not put your confidence in a man, no matter who is selling the lie. Thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departs from the Lord. It is better to trust in the Lord than put confidence in a man. Do not put your trust in princes, in human beings who cannot save. Choices are about to have to be made on which road you're going to walk. They are selling the lie from Satan. These people are selling a lie that this thing that they're building is going to be wonderful, and it is the lie from Satan, after the workings of Satan, empowered by Satan, who wants to be worshiped and take people away from God. They are selling the lie. If you can see, praise God, a strong delusion has not come over your eyes. It means your heart is right. Their plan is leading people to a trap. It's leading people to rebellion. It's leading people to enslavement. And it's leading people to eternal damnation. Trump declares himself the crypto president. Yes, he did. Trump pitches himself as crypto president, the one leading the charge. And remember, he's for tokenization. He's calling himself the crypto president. He's pushing this. And they're talking about trillions in tokenization. And y'all remember a few years ago, then Prince Charles was talking about trillions at this unnamed person's disposal.
Vast military-style campaign to marshal the strength of the global private sector, with trillions at his disposal, far beyond global GDP, and with the greatest respect, beyond even the governments of the world's leaders, it offers the only real prospect of achieving fundamental economic transition.
Financial and economic transition. We're going into something. Now, we're talking about the revealing. This might not seem like it's connected, but wait till it all ties in. Trump files lawsuits. January 29th, 2026, a couple of days ago. Trump, his two sons, Trump Organization, sued the IRS Treasury for $10 billion over tax record leaks. A couple of months ago, Trump sued YouTube to pay $24.5 million to settle lawsuit after Trump's account suspension after January 6th attack. Trump files a $15 billion defamation lawsuit against the New York Times. Trump sues JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon for $5 billion over alleged debanking. A couple of days ago. He's going sue happy. This is about as of early 2026, Donald Trump has filed high-profile lawsuits against the IRS, the Treasury Department, $10 billion for leaks, JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon, $5 billion over account closures, the Wall Street Journal, Rupert Murdoch, $10 billion, the New York Times, $15 billion, and Capital One over debanking allegations. He also previously targeted New York Attorney General Letitia James and several major law firms. Paramount President Trump reached a $16 million settlement over 60 Minutes lawsuit. The legal costs and risk of Trump's 328 lawsuits. Lawsuits are not novel to Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump has filed a documented minimum of 1,600 lawsuits against other individuals. A few weeks ago, will sue. White House warning to CBS is a sign of a new media status quo. A couple of weeks ago, Trump lawsuits seek to muzzle media posing serious threat to press freedom. Yes or no? Would a dictator pillage a country via lawsuits? Yes, dictators often use court system as a tool to seize assets, silent critics, enrich cronies, providing a veneer of legality to what is essentially theft, pillaging, and plundering. By manipulating judges, they can use bogus lawsuits to expropriate private property, bankrupt political opponents, and target independent media, a tactic sometimes referred to as lawfare. Trump's DOJ is now just suing anyone who makes him upset. But guess who he's not suing? People associated with Epstein. Now, last year, Melania Trump demanded that Hunter Biden retract extremely salacious Epstein comments. Hunter Biden said he won't apologize to Melania Trump, even though she filed a lawsuit against him. Okay? And look at this. Did Melania actually file a lawsuit against Hunter Biden over Epstein? As of mid-2025, Melania Trump has not officially filed a lawsuit against him. They're threatening because he was saying that they were connected. She was telling him, you better apologize. He says, I'm not going to apologize. She said, I'm going to sue, and she never filed a lawsuit against him. Who else is Trump not suing, even though he's got 1,600 lawsuits? He's not suing Sasha Raleigh, who says that he was assaulted by him as a child, and what Sasha Raleigh did to him, did to Trump's body. He's not suing him for defamation. An Epstein accuser urged the FBI to investigate Trump decades ago. He didn't sue them because in discovery, a civil lawsuit involving Trump and Epstein, accusations would come to light. Yes, accusations against Donald Trump made during discovery in civil lawsuits related to Jeffrey Epstein can become public, and such information can theoretically lead to criminal investigations. So he's not suing them. Defend and deny what we know about Trump and accusation of sexual misconduct. In May 2023, while he was out of office, a jury found that Donald Trump sexually abused and defamed writer E. Jean Carroll in 1996. He is still trying to get that verdict overturned. Trump loses defamation liability appeal in E. Jean Carroll's case.
Well, today we learned an appeals court rejected President-elect Donald Trump's bid to overturn a jury's verdict that found him liable for sexual abuse and defamation. The case stems from a lawsuit brought by writer E. Jean Carroll and upholds the $5 million award granted to her.
This says appeals court upholds E. Jean Carroll's $83.3 million defamation judgment against Trump. Appeals court upholds E. Jean Carroll's $83.3 million. What was the Trump E. Carroll lawsuit? In 2023 and 2024, juries found Donald Trump liable for abusing and defaming writer E. Jean Carroll regarding a 1990s dressing room assault, resulting in a total awards damage of over $88 million. A 2024 federal jury ordered $83.3 million to the second defamation suit, which federal appeals court upheld in September 2025. Trump complains his Carroll appeal is distracting him from historic presidency. Supreme Court will consider taking up Trump's appeal of E. Jean Carroll's verdict a couple of days ago, and this is still in court with our president in the Oval Office, sitting on the Board of Peace, and this is in the background. Trump said to demand Justice Department pay him $230 million for past cases.
Tonight, sources telling ABC News President Trump pressuring his own Department of Justice to pay him $230 million as a settlement for two previous federal investigations into him.
They probably owe me a lot of money.
As first reported by the New York Times, those negotiations stemming from two prosecutions Trump faced. The first, a 2016 investigation surrounding potential ties Trump and his campaign had to Russia over Trump's handling of classified documents, which
Well, Donald Trump now has confirmed that he is in fact suing the Department of Justice, which, by the way, that's the American people. Not only is he suing the American people for $230 million, he also confirmed the fact that he gets to be the person to decide if he wins or not. He said it's literally going to land on his desk. I believe the quote was, "It's strange that it's going to be on my desk, but that's just the way it is." I mean, why take a salary when you can just sue your own country and decide for yourself if you win or not? Yeah. Of course, Trump supporters are already relentlessly defending this, saying, hey, he's going to donate the money to charity. There's absolutely nothing that Donald Trump can do that will cause him to lose his cult followers, including extorting the American people out of $250 million. Yeah.
Pillaging. Trump sues BBC for $10 billion, accusing it of defamation over January 6th speech edit. That was a month ago. The timing of Trump's $10 billion lawsuit against BBC is significant. Trump sues the IRS and Treasury Department for $10 billion, accusing agencies of letting his tax returns leak. Another government agencies he's suing, just like the DOJ. And he's suing them over the tax leak. But what about when he allowed Doge to access all Americans' IRS data and puts their taxpayer information at risk? So he let the dogs out on Americans' information, but he's suing the same agencies that turned over everybody else's information. Representative Sewell demands answers from the IRS on Elon Musk's theft of Americans' private information. But Trump and his two sons and the Trump Organization sue the IRS and Treasury for $10 billion over their records leak, pillaging American money.
This entire government is a criminal organization. And this latest breaking news is just another example of this. Donald Trump, the head, the mafioso of this whole thing, the coordinator of all of this stuff, is suing his own federal government, which is funded by we the people. So in effect, he is suing for our money, the people's money, because his tax returns were leaked by his own IRS. That it was leaked to someone who then let it slip to other publications. And now he's mad. Now he's upset. Now he's bothered that anyone would ever see his financial information. And so the president of the United States is suing the federal government funded by us for $10 billion. And what's worst about all of this is that there's never going to be a trial. There's never going to be an actual case here. They're going to settle because the people that he has to settle with happen to be under his employ. And all of them are always eager to do whatever he asks them to do. The president of the United States is stealing directly from the American people again.
Would a dictator pillage and plunder natural resources and rare earth minerals and his own country's money? Yes, dictators frequently pillage natural resources, rare earth minerals, and state funds to consolidate power, enrich themselves, and reward loyalists. This behavior is common in resource-rich authoritarian regimes where wealth is used to sustain the regime rather than invest in the population, often treating the nation's assets as private property. What services could he do to help people with all the money he's suing for? It's greed and Satan in his heart. You can have all these things if you bow down and worship me. Trump's lawsuit against the IRS creates enormous conflict of interest. Again, would a dictator pillage a country via lawsuits? Yes, dictators often use the court system as a tool to seize assets, silence critics, and enrich cronies, providing a veneer of legality to what is essentially theft. Dictators frequently engage in pillaging and plundering, a behavior often classified as kleptocracy or rule by theft. Dictators with absolute power often embezzle state funds, seize private property, and loot national resources to enrich themselves and their families. And loyalists. Has Trump's friends and family benefited financially by his presidency? Yes, reports indicate that Donald Trump's family members and their associated businesses have benefited financially, with estimates suggesting that they have generated billions of dollars in revenue and value during his time in office. Economic destruction. The act of looting often leaves the country's economy destroyed, causing widespread poverty for the general population while the leader amasses wealth. So he's sucking all this money away from us and putting it in their pockets. Often the country's wealth is at the total mercy of the leader's whim. Could legally pillaging and plundering by a government be utilized in tokenization? Yes, illegal pillaging and plundering by a government could technically be utilized to create tokenized assets on the blockchain. Is Trump pro tokenization? Yes, Donald Trump is a strong proponent of tokenization, aiming to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world. Could billionaires become richer moving their dollars to crypto? Yes, billionaires could become significantly richer by moving their dollars into cryptocurrency, particularly Bitcoin, a trend already underway as digital assets become a recognized high growth asset class. Are billionaires moving their money into crypto? Yes, billionaires and high net worth individuals are increasingly moving capital into cryptocurrency. Are Trump and his sons Bitcoin rich? Yes, as of late 2025, early 2026, Donald Trump and his sons Eric and Don Jr. are considered heavily involved in and wealthy from cryptocurrency. Trump's crypto conflicts cause a congressional kerfuffle, with the industry seeking regulatory clarification, tensions to bubble over as Democrat lawmaker shuttles key hearing. Would Trump being involved in a competitive financial system like crypto be a conflict of interest? The president. Yes, based on reports regarding Donald Trump's involvement in ventures like World Liberty Finance and his administration's actions regarding crypto regulation. So Trump's, as president, his administration is regulating crypto while he and his sons are involved in crypto while he's the president. This situation has been described by ethics experts and lawmakers as a significant conflict of interest. Corrupt. Corrupt describes dishonest, unethical, or fraudulent behavior, particularly by those in power who misuse their position for personal gain. By biblical standards, yes or no, are the associates of Epstein corrupt? The people that are all pushing digital ID. Based on political standards regarding morality, justice, and association with evil, the answer is yes. The Bible severely condemns sexual immorality and exploitation and abuse, particularly of the vulnerable. It warns that those who cause harm to children or the innocent will face severe judgment. And Trump is part of the crowd. By biblical standards, is suing people for revenge considered corrupt? Yes, by biblical standards, suing people for revenge is considered corrupt as it violates commands to love our enemies, avoid vengeance, and resolve disputes internally rather through personal retaliation. Scripture teaches that vengeance belongs to God, and lawsuits driven by spite rather than justice are considered a moral failure. According to the Bible, yes or no? Is the desire to control others corrupt? Yes, according to biblical standards, the desire to control other people on a large scale, often manifested as opposition, tyranny, or lording it over others, is considered corrupt, sinful, and contrary to the nature of God. Could digital currency allow for easier control over a population that he wants? Yes, according to reports and expert analysis, central bank digital currencies could provide governments with enhanced and, in some cases, unprecedented control over the population. Does Satan want to control the population? Are they all pushing digital currency, digital ID that can be RFID chips? They're all pushing the lie that's leading people to the trap, leading people to rebellion, leading people to enslavement, and leading them to eternal damnation. Answer honestly, yes or no. In 2025, 2026, is Trump using the DOJ to oppress people? Based on reporting and legal analysis from 2025 and early 2026, yes, there are multiple credible allegations and reports that President Trump is using his Justice Department to target political opponents and groups, what critics describe as an abuse of power. According to the Bible, is oppression considered corrupt? According to the Bible, oppression, defined as the cruel and unjust exercise of power, particularly against the poor, widows and orphans and foreigners, is strongly condemned and considered or the result of a corrupt, wicked heart. Trump is oppressing people, and it is a sign of a corrupt, wicked heart. According to the Bible, is chasing after money considered corrupt? Yes, by biblical standards, chasing or loving money is considered a corrupting, sinful behavior. Scripture teaches that the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, often leading people to abandon faith, act dishonestly, and prioritize greed over God, as seen in 1 Timothy 6:10. The Bible distinguishes between having money and loving money. It is the obsession with wealth that destroys lives, causes misery, and causes people to be used. And Trump is suing his own government, the IRS, the Treasury Department, the DOJ, to line his own pockets that he can put into crypto. Why? Because he is hell-bent on amassing all these extra billions of dollars, and he's building a new financial system. According to the Bible, is money a cause of rebellion towards God? Yes, but with a critical distinction. The Bible teaches that the love of money, greed, idolatry, rather than money itself, causes people to wander from the faith and rebel against God. Would crypto holders, all those people that were on the little island that are pushing it, would crypto holders benefit from the fiat currency collapsing? Yes, with significant caveats. Crypto holders might benefit because cryptocurrencies are often seen as a hedge against inflation and devaluation of fiat currencies. In a collapse scenario, decentralized assets could see increased demand as people flee failing traditional systems. Trump media expands into financial services, with TruthFi investing $250 million in Patriot economy. Does Trump's Genius Act support a digital currency? Yes, the Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins, Genius Act, signed into law by Trump in July 2025, actively supports a specific digital currency by establishing a regulatory framework for USD-backed stablecoins. It aims to make the United States a leader in digital assets.
Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology. Who would have thought we would have been saying that 2 years after This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. A lot of people are saying that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yes? If you say yes, I'm saying yes. Yes? If you say yes, I'm saying yes.
Trump's USD1 stablecoin deepens concerns over conflicts of interest. How many times have we heard conflicts of interest with him? Conflicts of interest. The rapid shift towards crypto has raised ethical questions about potential conflicts of interest, especially with reports that the Trump Organization income has shifted significantly towards crypto ventures. Are Don Jr. and Eric creating a new financial system? Yes, Donald Jr. and Eric Trump, alongside Barron, are co founders of the new crypto focused financial venture called World Liberty Financial, launched to, in their words, make finance great again and promote financial independence. This platform focuses on decentralized finance and includes US dollar backed stablecoin. Based on statements and business initiatives, the financial approach adopted by Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. regarding their 2025 cryptocurrency ventures is designed to operate as a separate, decentralized system from traditional banking. They are creating a new financial system. Are Don Jr. and Eric getting rich off of digital currency? Yes, Donald Trump and Eric Trump have generated substantial wealth from digital currency ventures, with reports indicating they have made hundreds of millions in tax earnings through projects like World Liberty Financial and American Bitcoin. The brothers are deeply involved in launching crypto initiatives. The Trump family made $5 billion off his crypto launch this year, while millions of Americans are going into debt to put food, not the table, because of Trump's tariffs. The Trump advisor who wants to rewrite global financial system. One of the architects of President Trump's tariffs blitz has advocated a shakeup of the global trade and financial systems centered on radical strategy to weaken the dollar. Yes or no, according to the Bible, will the Antichrist usurp financial systems? Yes, according to the book of Revelation, the Bible describes a future leader, often referred to as the Antichrist or beast, who will implement a global economic system where no one can buy or sell unless they have a specific mark or name of the beast. This is generally interpreted as a, if not absolute, control over financial transactions to force alliance. Is cryptocurrencies a new financial system? Cryptocurrency is rapidly evolving into a new parallel financial system. Yes or no? Is it illegal for a president to establish a personal financial system against the Federal Reserve? Yes, it would likely be illegal. Yes or no? Is it illegal for a president to establish a new financial system against the US dollar? Yes, under current U.S. law, it is considered illegal for a president to unilaterally establish a new financial system or a currency to replace the U.S. dollar or override the Federal Reserve System, as the Federal Reserve Act and the power to coin money and regulate its values are constitutionally vested in Congress. But he's the lawless one. He sidesteps all laws. Would it be considered lawless for a president to establish a new financial system? Yes, such an action would generally be considered lawless or outside legal authority under existing U.S. legal framework. The Federal Reserve was created by Congress, and its independence by setting monetary policy is established by law. This was a post somebody put, and I had to copy it on Facebook. President Trump says the current financial system is outdated and will soon be replaced with a state of the art cryptocurrency framework under the new structure bill. This is a digital currency ID under another name. You better wake up and do your homework. You will have no real money of your own. Every transaction will be monitored. AI will give the pass or fail based on your records. You will own nothing and be happy. Everything will be tokenized and taken. If you're still in disbelief, you haven't been paying attention. This is a classic uniparty where the globalist elites ensure their generational wealth at the expense of the masses. We are collateral damage. The controlled demolition of the US dollar is inevitable. Yeah, answer yes or no. Does the Antichrist create a new financial system? Yes, according to biblical prophecy in the book of Revelation, the Antichrist is described as establishing a global economic system, okay, that requires a mark to buy or sell. This system is commonly interpreted as a cashless, totalitarian, and universal digital system connected to allegiance to him, the man of peace. Theoretically, could a digital currency bring world peace? Theoretically, decentralized digital currencies like Bitcoin could contribute to world peace by reducing economic incentives for war, such as inflationary financing and capital controls, and by limiting government power. By promoting a neutral, globally inoperable, and censorship resistant financial system, it could foster economic collaboration. Is the Antichrist called the man of peace? Yes, biblical prophecy suggests the Antichrist will initially appear as a powerful peacemaker, and his cryptocurrency can bring world peace, especially by brokering a key treaty with Israel, leading to a period of global stability and prosperity that ultimately proves deceptive before ushering in immense turmoil and persecution, a false peace that sets the stage for his true tyrannical rule. He is described as a charismatic deceiver, a man of peace in disguise, who brings temporary global unity and economic stability before revealing his evil nature by breaking the treaty and demanding worship. According to the Bible, will the Antichrist usurp world peace? Yes, according to biblical prophecy, the Antichrist is expected to initially establish a false temporary peace or a covenant with many, but will subsequently destroy many and bring about chaos, ultimately hijacking or destroying world peace during the tribulation period. Theoretically, could digital currency bring world peace? We talked about that and it said yes, the man of peace could roll it out. New report exposes the Trump family's multi-dollar crypto empire fueled by self-dealing and corrupt foreign interest. The real Trump family business is crypto. Trump's family's $6.8 billion fortune is increasingly tied to crypto. Here's Larry Fink, the head of World Economic Forum. Listen what he says about tokenization and digitalization.
What are the biggest concerns today of central bankers about what's going on in the global economy?
I would say the biggest question from central banks is what is the role of tokenization and digitization? How quickly should they think about digitizing their own currency? What does that mean for the role of the dollar? If every currency digitizes and we have, what does that mean for bank payments? What does that mean for the payment companies like MasterCard and Visa? All these are being questioned right now. I think we spend so much time talking about AI. We're not spending enough time talking about how quickly we're going to tokenize every financial asset and the opportunity we're going to have a digital wallet and moving ETFs and other things through a digital wallet. And I think that's going to happen worldwide very rapidly. And I think most countries are ill-prepared for that and underappreciate how technology is changing that, not unlike how technology is changing AI and other things. It will be changing the technology around the plumbing of finance. And I think that's going to happen worldwide very rapidly.
And Trump just appointed a new Fed chair, Kevin Warsh, to lead the Fed Reserve, could reshape the world's most influential central bank. On January 30, 2026, President Trump nominated Kevin Warsh to the next Federal Reserve chair, and while not specifically vocal on XRP, Warsh is considerably generally pro-crypto compared to his predecessor, because Jerome Powell was for the dollar. This guy is for crypto. He has described Bitcoin as a sustainable store of value and has invested in cryptocurrency. Now, wouldn't that be a conflict of interest? Kevin Warsh emerges as the top Fed chair. He's invested in crypto. He supports crypto. Larry Fink saying we got to digitize everything and tokenize everything, and it needs to happen rapidly. And now Trump has appointed a man that can get this done quickly. Is Kevin Warsh pro-digitalization? Yes, based on recent public comments and position, Kevin Warsh is considered pro-digitalization, particularly in the context of cryptocurrency.
The president officially nominated Kevin Warsh to step in as the next chairman of the Federal Reserve, succeeding Jerome Powell when his term wraps up. This isn't some obscure appointment buried in the news cycle. This is a former Fed governor who's spoken openly and positively about blockchain technology, digital assets, and the transformative power of this space in ways that show he truly understands the innovation at play.
They're all pro-digital, pro-tokenization. Larry Fink says this is going to happen rapidly and people don't even know it. Look what XRP has. I've shown it before, but everybody's pushing it.
Hello and welcome to our Hackathon project video, where we showcase our innovative solution for the future of digital payments. Our project is called How Ripple CBDC Chip Implants Can Transform Your Life. Ripple is a company that provides solutions for central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, and stablecoins, which are digital versions of fiat currencies that are backed by reserves or assets. Ripple's CBDC platform offers a comprehensive platform for minting, managing, transacting, and each solution is built on a private ledger that is based on XRP ledger technology, a proven blockchain that has transacted over 70 million times over the course of 10 years, and is trusted by financial institutions around the world. Ripple is currently working with more than 20 countries on CBDC plans, including Palau and Montenegro, who have chosen to partner with Ripple to create their national digital currencies. One of the key benefits of CBDCs and stablecoins is that they can enable faster, cheaper, and more inclusive payments for millions of people who are unbanked or underbanked. According to the International Monetary Fund, IMF, CBDCs in developing countries have the potential to bank large unbanked populations and boost financial inclusion. But how can you access these digital currencies in a convenient and secure way? That's where Ripple's CBDC chip implants come in. A chip implant is a small device that is inserted under your skin and contains a unique identifier and a secure cryptographic key. With a chip implant, you can store, send, and receive CBDCs and stablecoins using your own body as a wallet. You can also use your chip implant to authenticate yourself, access services, and make transactions without the need for passwords, cards, or cash.
Kevin Warsh is involved with XRP. He's been nominated for the new Fed chair. Will XRP be involved with the Federal Reserve? Based on the latest development as of early 2026, Ripple, the company associated with XRP, is actively seeking direct involvement with the Federal Reserve, but it is not finalized. XRP is looking to work with the Federal Reserve, but it's not finalized. But Larry Fink says it's coming quickly. Would a dictator sabotage his own country's financial system to roll out a more restrictive system? Yes, a dictator will often sabotage their own country's financial system to impose a more restrictive one if they believe it is necessary to secure their regime, eliminate opposition, and consolidate power. For an authoritarian leader, maintaining power is generally prioritized over economic prosperity. Weaponizing financial systems. Dictators commonly use financial deplatforming as a tool against dissidents. Y'all can tell I'm tired. It's like close to midnight. By sabotaging the existing system, they can restrict the funds needed for organizing protest and controlling the opposition. The anti deceives, even if possible, the very elect of God. Would a dictator feign religious alignment in order to ensnare the religious population? Yes, history demonstrates that dictators frequently feign, manipulate, or co opt religious alignment to gain legitimacy, control the population, and neutralize potential opposition. By aligning themselves with the dominant faith, authoritarian leaders can convert spiritual devotion into political support, often using religious narratives to justify their authority, policies, and actions. Does the Antichrist come in power pretending to be a friend of Christians? Based on biblical interpretation and prophecy, it is widely believed that the Antichrist will rise to power by presenting himself as a peaceful, charismatic leader who deceives many, including potential Christians, by appearing to be a friend or a lamb in wolf's clothing. He is described as bringing a false peace, uniting religions, and performing miracles. He will be seen as a false Messiah.
Breaking news, today we have filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration. So the Trump administration created a so-called anti-Christian bias task force, which was aimed at we don't know what. And so we wanted to find out. We asked, what are you using this for? And did a Freedom of Information Act. They did not provide any information that was helpful about how this was actually being operationalized. So today we took them to court to find out how this is being used, how it's being weaponized religion, and we need answers from the Trump administration about what they're doing with this anti-Christian bias task force.
Yes or no? According to the Bible, will Satan in the end times usurp biblical faith? Yes, according to the Bible, Satan will lead a massive deception in the end times aimed at turning the world away from God and challenging biblical faith. Will the Antichrist usurp the faith by converting people from religious faith to political alignment? Does the Bible say that Satan, the dragon, will usurp faith and worship of Jesus himself? Yes, according to the book of Revelation, Satan, referred to as the great dragon, will seek to usurp worship intended for God and Jesus by empowering the beast, the Antichrist, to receive worship from the world during the last days. Would converting people from religious support to political alignment be considered a form of usurping? Based on biblical principles, the answer is yes. That action can be considered a form of usurping, or more broadly, spiritual manipulation, heresy. Moving people from their religious standing into a political alignment. Are we seeing that? Are we seeing people not holding on as tight to the Bible as they are to Trump? Usurping divine authority. Scripture teaches that God's glory is not to be given to another. Using the church or religious devotion to promote a specific party, political party, or leader is viewed by many theologians as hijacking religious authority for worldly power. Will the Antichrist usurp the faith by converting people from religious faith to political alignment? The Antichrist is going to do it. According to many interpretations of the biblical prophecy, the Antichrist is expected to usurp religious faith by establishing a false mandatory system that blends political, economic, and religious control, demanding worship of himself. The man of lawlessness will sit in the temple of God, proclaiming himself to be God. Could digital currency and religion bring a political alignment? Yes, based on trends, digital currency and religious groups can form and are forming political alliances based on shared ideologies regarding the role of government, financial independence, and distrust of centralized authority. People are moving away from biblical truth into a political system and aren't even seeing the transition happening. Trump's entry into crypto opens new doors for those seeking political influence. Could a legitimate crypto have Trump's image or a number? A legitimate cryptocurrency can technically feature a political figure's image or a number. Hello. And he causes all, small and great, rich and poor, to receive a mark in his right hand or forehead that you will not be able to buy or sell, and you'll have to take his name, his mark, or his number. A legitimate cryptocurrency can technically feature a political figure's image or a number. Many legitimate functional tokens use numbers in their names. He causeth all, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell, save he that has the mark, the name of the beast, or the number of his name. He. So we know it's a he. It's not going to be AI. It's not going to be a woman. It's a he. He causeth. In the phrase, he causeth all to receive a mark, is that a political action? Yes, within the context of Revelation 13, he causeth all to receive a mark is interpreted as a political action, specifically a totalitarian state-mandated enforcement that forces a religious or spiritual alliance. He is going to do a political action and make people take his mark, his name, or his number. The he that is building an alternative economic system that's being given a throne and a seat of power. Will the image of the beast be associated with the mark? Yes, according to Revelation 13, the image of the beast and the mark of the beast are intimately connected. The false prophet mandates that people create an image to the first beast and breathe life into it, and forces everyone to receive a mark on their right hand or forehead to worship that image. Donald, ruler of the world. And I'm not just making that up. Does Donald mean world ruler? Yes, the name Donald is derived from the Scottish name Domhill, which originates from the Proto-Celtic element dumno. It is commonly interpreted as meaning world ruler or ruler of the world or mighty ruler. That's him sitting in, I put that picture of him sitting in the Pope's hall. That looks like a snake or a serpent. Trump's Board of Peace gets its legitimacy from the United Nations as agency he routinely belittles. So the UN gave Trump the power to start the Board of Peace. And he's got, I think, 60 people that has signed on to 60 countries. I think he's got 7 people on the board and some structures underneath it. These kings have one purpose: to yield their power and authority to the beast. Our U.S. president is sitting on a global entities board as the head of global countries. The Antichrist is not given power by anyone but the devil. Coming of the lawless one is by the activity of Satan, with all power and false signs and wonders, and with all wicked deception for those who are perishing, because they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. Therefore God sends them a strong delusion, that they may believe the lie, what is false, in order that all may be condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. And according to the Bible, will the Antichrist assume unrestrained earthly power? So we know Trump is the head of the Board of Peace. He was given power by the UN to establish it. He's going to head it up. Will the Antichrist be given unrestrained power? Theoretically, if the United Nations dissolved and the only ruling global body was the Board of Peace, would Trump have the most power than any man in the world? Theoretically, if the UN dissolved and the Board of Peace became the sole ruling global body, Donald, the world ruler, as its lifelong chair, would hold unparalleled global power, potentially more than any individual in history. The Antichrist is coming in the power of Satan. Satan is giving the Antichrist a throne. He could end up with more authority than any other person in history. The board is designed to bypass the UN. Theoretically, if the United Nations dissolved and the only ruling global body was the Board of Peace, would Trump have more power than any man in the world? Theoretically, if the UN dissolved and the Board of Peace became the sole global authority under the structure proposed in 2026, Donald Trump would hold unprecedented centralized power, acting as chairman with exclusive veto authority, the ability to appoint his successor, and control over membership. Absolute power. Trump would have the exclusive authority to create, dissolve subsidiary bodies, set rules, and veto any decisions of the board that he didn't like. Lifelong position. As the chair of the Board of Peace, Trump would hold this position for life. Concerns over accountability. The charter creates a structure where the board operates outside of traditional international law. There will be nobody he answers to, with critics labeling it an authoritarian dream. Satan has given him a throne and a seat of power. According to the Bible, will the Antichrist assume unrestrained earthly power? Do we see it taking place? According to the Bible, will the Antichrist be a global dictator over the world? Yes, according to biblical interpretation of Revelation 13, the Antichrist is described as exercising authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation, creating a global system where no one can buy or sell without his mark. This figure is depicted as a worldwide dictator during end times. Here are some magazine covers, The Economist, The Don's New World Order, Trump's Next Move, King of F Around and Find Out, King Me, Visions of Absolute Power, Can Anyone Stop Him? The Haunting, Above the Law. The Antichrist is the usurper, usurping national sovereignties. Yes or no? According to the Bible, will the Antichrist usurp national sovereignty? Yes, according to biblical prophecy, specifically the book of Revelation and the book of Daniel, the Antichrist will gain authority over all the nations of the earth, effectively usurping their sovereignty to establish a global government. Y'all, this is getting biblical. The book of Revelation says, in Revelation, the beast, the Antichrist, receives power, throne, and authority directly from Satan, leading the world to worship it. Furthermore, in Revelation 17:13 and Revelation 17:17, 10 kings or rulers unanimously unite, giving their power and authority to the beast to carry out specific temporary purpose. And the Antichrist is going to usurp their authority for his purposes, coming after the workings of Satan. So, y'all remember this and everybody celebrated? Fact sheet: President Donald Trump withdraws the United Nations from international organizations that are contrary to the U.S. So, this was right after he was sworn in, okay? Now, people were all clapping. Look at this. Withdrawing from national organizations. Today, Donald Trump signed a presidential memorandum directing the withdrawal of the United States from 66 international organizations that no longer serve American interests, because he's about to have all authority over this. The memorandum orders all executive departments and agencies to cease participating in and funding 35 non-United Nations organizations and 31 UN entities that operate contrary to the U.S. national interests, security, economic prosperity, or sovereignty. Now, he withdrew before he was named to the Board of Peace. Before he withdrew the Board of Peace, they established him with the Board of Peace. Now he's going to be over all of it. Trump launches the Board of Peace, says it will do what the United Nations should have done. And he announced it at Davos, the Great Reset place. The initiative was formally ratified at the World Economic Forum in Davos on January 22nd, 2026. Just a side note, January 22nd is Linda Blair's birthday, who starred in The Exorcist, about the demonized person. Trump formed the Board of Peace on January 22nd at Davos, Switzerland, the place that declared you will own nothing and be happy, and he is about to be sitting on top of this global entity. Trump's Board of Peace would have global scope. Trump could play a central role in the board even after leaving the presidency because he can hold the position for life. Trump says the Board of Peace, meant to oversee Gaza reconstruction, might just go on ahead and replace the UN. Trump's Board of Peace, an alternative to the UN, expanding scope beyond Gaza. A global mandate. While launched to manage the Gaza ceasefire, the Board of Peace is envisioned as a bold new approach to resolving global conflicts and potential alternative to the United Nations.
The price of peace. For $1 billion, world leaders get a permanent seat at the table to resolve global conflicts. And occupying the top chair, Donald Trump. The US president has officially launched his Board of Peace. Will it contribute to Middle East stability or simply allow the president to challenge the UN?
It will kill the UN. Counterpoint debates Trump's Board of Peace. It will kill the UN. Could Trump's new Board of Peace sideline the struggling United Nations that he's pulled funding from? Think about that. He pulled all his funding from the UN. Now he's been named to the Board of Peace. He's got the highest chair. It would be to his advantage if the UN collapsed, because he would have more power than any person in history. According to recent reports, it is a scenario that is being discussed, okay? It says, it is considered a deliberate and plausible and ambitious strategy by Trump to create a new U.S.-led international body, Board of Peace, that could replace the United Nations. Reports indicate this board is designed to give Trump direct control, with him named as chairman for life and having sole authority to invite members and appoint successors. From a couple of days ago, the United Nations risk imminent financial collapse. Donald, ruler of the world, that would have unprecedented power and more authority than any man in history? Now, we talked about this. According to the Bible, will the Antichrist usurp nation sovereignty? What does that mean? Are y'all seeing the picture yet? The head of the Global Board of Peace, if he wanted to take another country in the name of peace, would he be able to? The proposed Board of Peace, with Trump as a lifetime chair, is designed to intervene in conflict zones and, according to draft charter, could operate with high autonomy to, as Trump stated, do pretty much whatever we want to. While its aim is to handle global conflicts, it operates independently of the United Nations. Pillage and plunder refer to the violent, illegal seizure of property. He says pretty much he can do whatever he wants to, so he can pillage and plunder. Since Trump is the head of the Board of Peace, if members voted against him, could he veto their vote and override it? Yes, based on the reported charter of the Board of Peace established in January 2026, Donald Trump is designated as the permanent chair and holds the authority to veto board resolutions, initiate measures unilaterally, and override votes. Y'all, he's been given authority by the devil. But in the natural world, he's been given authority by the UN. He's going to determine his own outcomes for the lawsuits he has against the IRS and the DOJ. Then the Sanhedrin rabbis invited him to head up the International Divine Court, so that he has been selected and picked by God to hand that over. So the Jews are giving him power. The UN is giving power. He's taken power his own self, but it's after the workings of Satan. Satan is giving him a throne, a seat of power, and authority to rule the world. He's been given a throne and a seat of power and all authority. Theoretically, could Trump's Board of Peace evolve into a global dictatorship? Yes, theoretically. Critics and analysts and people with the Holy Ghost have raised concerns that the Board of Peace launched by Donald Trump could evolve into a structure resembling a global dictatorship, or at least a control architecture that operates outside of international law. Trump is the head of it. He can veto anybody that rules against him, and he will operate outside any international law. What does this sound like? Who could have more power than Trump? Nobody.
Trump is the founding chairman, and according to the charter, Guess how long he holds that position? It's for life, like a Supreme Court justice. It's a life appointment unless he voluntarily resigns or unless he's removed by a unanimous vote of the executive board, which, by the way, he gets to appoint. He picks who joins.
And he holds the veto power.
He can terminate memberships. He approves all decisions. He can veto anything at any time, and he chooses his own successor. Bloomberg describes this as Trump holding ultimate world decision-making power. Well, as it turns out, if you want to be a permanent member on the board, you do have to pay $1 billion within the first year. Otherwise, you get a 3-year term, and then you're out. It rotates. So Putin has been invited to be a permanent member of the board. He has yet to accept, but many are noting that his $1 billion offer is at the very least a tacit acceptance. And by the way, that money goes into a fund controlled by, you guessed it, Chairman Trump. Trump is
controversy. The initiative has been described by critics as a pay-to-play model designed to bypass the UN and consolidate financial control, trillions at his disposal, with several Western nations expressing concern over the structure. In summary, the Board of Peace is designed to put substantial financial resources under Trump's control.
We need a vast military-style campaign to marshal the strength of the global private sector, with trillions at his disposal.
Theoretically, will the Board of Peace give Trump all power? No, it came from the devil. Theoretically, the Board of Peace, an international organization established by Trump January 26, he created this board given out of thin air to give himself all power. But it's after the workings of Satan. To oversee Gaza post-war administration and potentially broader global conflicts is designed to concentrate significant decision-making power into Trump's hand. And he created the board to give himself all power. But the devil gave him the power. It was designed to create significant decision-making power to Trump, with trillions at his disposal. Yes or no, via the Board of Peace, is Trump usurping the United Nations? Yes, numerous critics, analysts, and European allies have expressed concern that the Board of Peace is designed to bypass, weaken, or act as an alternative to the United Nations. Reports describe the initiative as a way for Trump to assert control over global affairs with his personal veto power, bypassing the UN Security Council. According to the Bible, is Satan considered the usurper? Yes, according to the Bible, Satan is considered a usurper, one who seizes and holds power not rightly his own, as he is described as a dethroned monarch who operates on as a temporary ruler of the world. After seizing the authority over humanity, the prince of this world. So would that make Trump the son of Satan? According to the Bible, is the Antichrist empowered by Satan? Yes, according to the Bible, the Antichrist, referred to as the beast in Revelation, is empowered by Satan. Scripture indicates that Satan gives the Antichrist his power, his throne, and great authority. His rise is described as being in accordance with the work of Satan, characterized by counterfeit signs and wonders. Will the Antichrist have absolute power over the financial system, the political system, and religion? Yes, according to biblical prophecy, the Antichrist, referred to as the beast or the man of lawlessness, will have extensive, near absolute power and control over the financial, political, and religious systems of the world during the final period known as tribulation. According to the Bible, yes or no, will Satan and the Antichrist usurp the standing political power and order? Yes, according to biblical prophecy, specifically the book of Revelation and the book of Daniel, Satan will empower a political figure known as the Antichrist to gain authority over the entire world. The Board of Peace is doing it. the throne and the seat of power, effectively usurping and consolidating political power and order. Again, is it plausible, since that on the Board of Peace, will Trump hold all veto power, that it could evolve into a dictatorship? Yes, based on reports detailing the draft charter and structure of Donald Trump's Board of Peace as of January 2026, it is considered plausible by critics and international law experts and some diplomats that the organization could function in an authoritarian manner. Critics have described the board as an authoritarian international charter and a new form of U.S. hegemony, and that some warn it could evolve into a dictatorship. According to the Bible, will the Antichrist be a global dictator over all the world? Yes, according to the biblical interpretation of Revelation 13, the Antichrist is described as exercising authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation, creating a global system where no one can buy or sell without his mark. The figure is depicted as a worldwide dictator during the end times. What if Trump does to the global financial system what he's already done to the international security order? Discard the rules, undermine institutions, and weaponize dependencies. President Trump says the current financial system is outdated. That's what's going to happen, and will soon be replaced with the state of the art cryptocurrency. So he just usurped the political order with his power, and now he's about to usurp the financial system. This is digital currency ID under another name. You better wake up and do your homework.
Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology. Who would have thought we would have been saying that 2 years after?
He could write whatever laws he wants from the Board of Peace, since he's the head of it, and there's nobody that would be able to challenge him. He could implement whatever he wanted globally. Theoretically, could Trump's family control the new financial system? Theoretically, through ventures like World Liberty Financial and Trump meme coins, the Trump family has secured significant control over emerging crypto assets, accumulating billions in potential value and rising. He could deem that their coin would be the only coin via reported substantial self-dealing interests. Reports indicate that they hold roughly 22.5 billion World Liberty Financial tokens, with potential to command 75% of the revenues, which, if this decentralized finance system were to become dominant, could position them with unparalleled, although highly speculative, financial influence. Not if Daddy writes the laws. Theoretically, could Trump family, okay? Argument for yes. They own multiple crypto ventures, including a Bitcoin mining firm. Proponents might argue that leveraging this presidency to promote such platform, combined with insider favorable terms, could create massive centralized influence over a new financial structure, sitting on top of the world with political control and financial control. And he's going to control the religions. Yes or no? According to the Bible, will the Antichrist control the financial system, political system, and religious system? Yes, according to the Bible, specifically in Revelation 13 and 17 and Daniel, the Antichrist is described as a future global leader who will gain authority over the nations, political, require a mark for buying and selling, financial, and demand worship as God, religious, political. Let's go see these three. Politically, he is described as having authority over every tribe, people, and language and nation, Revelation 13:7. Financially, he causes all to receive a mark in order to buy or sell. And religiously, he will oppose God and sit in the temple and demand that he be worshipped. So I did it like this. He is described as having authority over every tribe. He will cause people to have to take his mark, and he will say that he is God. Politically, yes or no, will the Board of Peace be a new global political arm? Because the Antichrist is going to take political authority. Yes, based on its charter and stated goals as of January 2026, the Board of Peace is designed to function as a new international body. Expanding scope beyond Gaza. A global mandate, while launched to manage the Gaza ceasefire, the Board of Peace is envisioned as a bold new approach to resolving global conflicts and a potential alternative to the United Nations. Because of the creation of the Board of Peace, the seat of power and the throne, because of the creation of the Board of Peace has more power been given to Trump's hands than any other single man. Based on reports from January 2026, the Board of Peace, launched by Donald Trump himself, is a highly unconventional international organization that concentrates significant and perhaps unprecedented power in his hands. Unprecedented power. Omitting any ethical, legal challenges, theoretically, could Trump's Board of Peace and all those leaders mandate and implement a digital global ID system? Yes, theoretically, if ethical, legal, and sovereign challenges are completely omitted, a coalition of powerful leaders potentially utilizing structures like the Board of Peace could mandate and implement a digital ID system globally. Such a system would likely be driven by a combination of high-level political, financial, and security motivations aimed at standardizing and controlling data. The Board of Peace mechanism, such a body could function as a one-man institution. He causeth all to receive. Mandate and coercion. The implementation would likely involve tying access to basic services, banking, food, travel directly to the digital ID, creating an implicitly mandatory system, even if not explicitly forced, a common practice described in the 2025 Digital ID research. It would create a single unified system on the blockchain used to create a single unified digital token. A centralized system like this allows for the monitoring of individuals' movements. Financial. He calls us all to receive a mark in order to buy or sell. Could an implanted RFID chip be a form of a new financial system? Yes, an implanted RFID chip are already being used as a form of new highly streamlined financial system. Could implanted RFID chips fight waste, fraud, and abuse? Yes, implanted RFID chips could fight fraud, waste, and abuse by providing secure, unique identification for verifying individuals. Could the Antichrist and Satan usurp the world's financial system? Yes, according to the book of Revelation in the Bible, Satan and the Antichrist will establish a global compulsory economic system that restricts buying and selling, forcing humanity to choose between allegiance to Antichrist or extreme persecution. Answer yes or no. Does the Antichrist create a new financial system? According to biblical prophecy in the book of Revelation, the Antichrist is described as establishing a global economic system that requires a mark on the right hand or the forehead to buy or sell. This system is commonly interpreted as a cashless, totalitarian, and universal digital system connected to an allegiance to him. What are the big issues right now? Illegal immigration, collapsing economy and digital currency, waste, fraud, and abuse, health of Americans. Is digital ID a global concern globally? Yes, digital ID is a major, evolving global concern and a top-tier policy focus for governments, international organizations, and civil societies worldwide. Could a digital ID evolve into an implantable RFID chip? Yes, a digital ID can and already has, in limited voluntarily cases, evolved into an implantable RFID chip. With an RFID chip, that everyone's information could be in centralized database. Yes, it is technologically plausible that if every person on Earth were implanted with an RFID chip, their identification could be maintained in a centralized global database. Is Donald Trump moving towards a digital currency? Yes, Donald Trump is aggressively moving towards the United States, towards a private sector-led digital asset economy, that he should not be able to run a parallel payment system against the Fed, but he is aggressively doing it. Aiming to make the nation the crypto capital of the world through 2025 Genius Act and executive orders, he is promoting Bitcoin, stablecoins, and digital assets that can tokenize everything you own, while simultaneously banning the development of a government's CBDC. The Genius Act. Does the Genius Act include digital currency? Yes, the Genius Act, signed into law July 18, 2025, is the first comprehensive federal framework specifically designed to regulate digital currency, specifically focusing on payment stablecoins. He's breaking the law right there, the lawless one, by violating the Federal Reserve Act, by writing the Genius Act, competing with the Federal Reserve. Yes or no, did Trump establish the Genius Act to implement digital currency? Yes, on July 18, 2025, President Trump signed the Genius Act into law. It is the first comprehensive federal framework aimed at regulating assets, ensure 100% reserve backing, and strengthening the U.S. dollar's role in digital finance. Marjorie Taylor Greene links Trump's crypto bill to the biblical end of time as she quotes the book of Revelation. Representative, now she's exited, she retired from it. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has expressed strong opposition to the Genius Act, and framing it as or part of the mark of the beast system due to concerns over surveillance and digital currency control.
The deal made by the president to make sure that included was going to be the central bank digital currency. There'd be no possibility of a backdoor to get that. So where are we?
Steve, let me explain something. In 1971, we went off of the gold standard. The Federal Reserve did that. And we went to cash, a cash society. And the value of the dollar has drastically gone down to the buying power is less than 10 cents now from where it was in the 1950s before we went off the gold reserve. What's happening today on July 17th in 2025 when no one is paying attention, no one's talking about it, everyone is in blind rage about the Epstein files, and I don't blame them. However, right now, what is being voted on today in Congress is the entire setup, groundwork, and an entire infrastructure being laid to move from cash to digital currency. And the number one thing that is not happening today is a ban on a central bank digital currency. This means the ability for the government to take control of your digital bank account where all your money is and turn it off.
She says here, Congress is secretly pushing for a cashless society, citing the mark of the beast.
The groundwork is being laid, currency that can be controlled by the federal government. I've read the Bible and I believe what Revelations 13, 16 through 17 says, and I just cannot vote for a future system that will do that. Was the only no vote on the rule last night, and Congress set a record last night, and no one's talking about that either. This was the longest vote held open for a rule in history, and it finally shut down sometime around midnight because there was a deal made, and the deal will not be honored. It was a deal that Speaker Johnson made, and he said that he would put a ban on central bank digital currency in the NDAA. But let me tell you something, that's going to get stripped out in the Senate because what they told us all week long is the Senate does not have the votes to pass a ban on a central bank digital currency. So I want to lay this out straight for you all. You never thought in your lifetime that the government would shut you down, would close your churches, would close your schools, would close your business. And that happened only a few years ago. But what is happening today is the groundwork is being laid, and it's all in the name of cryptocurrency and stablecoin, but it is the entire regulatory process to switch us from cash to a cashless society to digital currency that can be controlled by the federal government. And there will be no ban on a central bank digital currency. There will be no way to protect your ability to fully control your digital currency in the future. And I'm voting no to this today. I don't know if there'll be any other no votes on the Republican side, but I'm voting no to this because I'm a Christian and I've read the Bible and I believe what Revelations 13, 16 through 17 says. And I just cannot vote for a future system that will do that.
She's right on the money. Could digital currency evolve into RFID chip implants? Yes, digital currency is already evolving into RFID chip implants used for contactless payments. Fighting waste, fraud, and abuse, all the problems that we're facing. Solution. In government services, an RFID could ensure that benefits are only received by authorized individuals, reducing identity fraud on Social Security, Medicare, or as mentioned, immigration. Does Trump's establishment of the Genius Act fight waste, fraud, and abuse that an RFID chip can fight, that digital currencies can evolve into? Yes, based on reports on July 2025, Trump signed the Genius Act into law. While the act primarily functions as a financial regulatory framework for stablecoins, the administration framed it as a measure to combat waste, fraud, and abuse. Health monitoring the health of Americans. Solution 4. Solution potential. Implants can store vital medical records, allergies, and blood types, providing immediate access in emergencies. Some advanced experimental or future iterations could theoretically monitor vital signs. Yes or no? Could implanted RFID chip help Medicare and Medicaid fight waste, fraud, and abuse? Yes, an implanted RFID chip could theoretically help Medicare and Medicaid fight waste, fraud, and abuse. And who's over Medicare and Medicaid? Trump chooses TV Dr. Oz to lead Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. As of April 2025, Dr. Oz is the 17th administrator for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. He was appointed by President Trump. And we're talking about, can RFID chips fight waste, fraud, and abuse? This is where the big money fraud is happening. Doge dives into Medicare payment malarkey. An RFID chip can fight it. And look who Dr. Oz pals around with. Spirit cooking lady. The people that did horrible things to little kids before we found out about Epstein Island. Dr. Oz is a friend of hers. Dr. Oz, this says, I don't like it at all. He's friends with Marina Abramovich, the witch and demon worshiper. Over to the right, it says, Dr. Oz leading Medicaid is a conflict of interest. He still hasn't announced how unhealthy those spirit cooking parties with Marina Abramovich really are. Dr. Oz leading Medicaid is a conflict of interest. He hasn't announced how unhealthy those spirit cooking parties with Marina Abramovich really are. Satanists. The same people on the island that tortured, restricted freedom of movement, wanted to control everything. Those same people now are in control over everything. Now, remember, he was appointed by Trump to head Medicare and Medicaid. RFID chips can fight waste, fraud, and abuse. Let's go hear Dr. Oz. Marjorie Taylor Greene says this type of stuff is the mark of the beast.
The latest breakthroughs. Turns out one of the biggest discoveries is actually this tiny. See how small that is? This little chip may be the next big thing, and it sounds like it's right from a sci-fi movie, but people all over the world are implanting these into their wrists. So I asked my producer, Dean, to find out more about this cutting-edge technology and what it could mean for your health.
Whether it's our smartphones, our watches, our fitness trackers, or our Bluetooth headphones, it's clear that technology is not just part of our lives, it's running them. It's how we buy things, watch things, how we date, stay safe, even how we travel. Paul? Cool. We're so attracted to our devices that they're basically becoming a part of our bodies. But what if they really could become a part of our bodies? Well, guess what? They can. Meet the RFID microchip.
This tiny chip, which can be implanted into your wrist, yes, I did say wrist,
uses short-range radio frequency identification, similar to the tech used to track your pets or your phone. Once implanted in your body, it could identify you as you pass through the airport, open the door to your home. It could even be used to buy groceries at the supermarket.
So it will know where you're at all times. It'll have a real-life accounting of you. If you move from one house to another house to the store that has to use it.
Now, your driver's license, passport, keys, and wallet are all inside your body, contained in something the size of a grain of rice.
I know it might sound like sci-fi, but it's not. 10,000 people have already been chipped, and the number is growing.
So we saw that XRP has the RFID chip. Trump just nominated Kevin Warsh to be the head of the Fed. He's pro-XRP. XRP has the RFID chip. Dr. Oz supports the RFID chip. The Genius Act could turn into the RFID chip that Marjorie Taylor Greene's calling the mark of the beast. And we've got RFK Jr. that wants wearables on everybody by 2029. RFK Jr. aims to have all Americans wearing health tracking devices within 4 years, approximately by 2029. The same time, they want every single person to have the digital ID, digital currencies. Yes or no? Theoretically, could RFK Jr.'s wearables goals evolve into implantables? Yes, theoretically, the goal to have every American wearing wearable health technology could evolve into the adoption of implantables. The Antichrist is going to give the Satan is going to give the Antichrist a throne, a seat of power, and all authority over the world. It will create a global system of total control and enslavement. Do y'all see where we're at? And look at Dr. Oz. Boots on the ground. Dr. Oz visits fraud-ridden states. He wanted to go fight he wanted to go find where waste, fraud, and abuse was on the streets. Could implanted RFID chips help Medicare and Medicaid fight waste, fraud, and abuse? Yes, that implanted chip that goes right into your wrist. An RFID chip could theoretically help Medicare and Medicaid fight waste, fraud, and abuse. That Dr. Oz is over. That hangs around Marina Abramovich. These evil people with evil desires, corrupted hearts. Religion. He will oppose God and sit in the temple of God and demand to be worshipped. So there's Trump at the Wailing Wall as a Jew. There's Trump in a mosque. Then Christians are worshiping him. Unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. And then we have the establishment of the faith office that all the Christians were excited about. Executive order, church and state, or church in the state? Because remember, Satan is going to give the Antichrist power over the world religions to rearrange it to make it where all religions have to worship him. Honor, honestly, yes or no, is the faith office merging church and state? Whether the White House faith office constitutes a merging of church and state is a subject of intense political and legal debate. Making a simple yes or no answer is subjective based on one's interpretation of the First Amendment. Arguments for yes, that church and state is merging. They argue that the office violates the separation of church and state by directing public funds to religious organizations and allowing religious influence to shape public policy. Concerns have been raised that the office focused specifically on promoting religious, particularly Christian, perspectives rather than including broader community-based organizations. There's a reason. Do dictators oversee faith and religion? Yes, dictators frequently oversee and regulate and manipulate faith and religion to consolidate power and eliminate competing authority. Do y'all see? They can co-opt religious institutions to legitimize their rule. Do dictators overseeing faith and religion insert propaganda into it? Yes, dictators and authoritarian regimes frequently oversee, manipulate, or co-opt religious institutions to insert propaganda, bolster their legitimacy, and control the population. So people think this is a good idea? Yes or no? Is the Board of Peace a global entity? We're going to bring this back to religion. Yes, as of January 2026, the Board of Peace is a U.S.-led international multinational entity. Will the Board of Peace handle global issues? Yes, based on reports from January 2026, the Board of Peace initiated by Donald Trump is designed to start with a focus on Gaza, but has expanded its mandate to handle other conflicts globally. What happened to America first? Trump is sitting on a global board that he will be the head of with other countries. How is this America first? Yes or no, is it a conflict of interest for Trump to head up a global entity while over a sovereign nation, global and national? Whether this scenario constitutes a conflict of interest is a matter of an intense debate with no simple yes or no to answer this. Arguments for yes, that it is a conflict of interest. Ethics experts, watchdog groups, and legal scholars generally argue that a United States president heading a global entity while still in office creates a significant conflict of interest. The Board of Peace could vote on something, and then Trump would mandate it over Americans, and it would bypass Congress, the Senate, to vote on it. In the future, could the Board of Peace draft a new global charter for fairness? Yes, based on its adopted charter as of January 2026, the Board of Peace is structured as an international organization with a broad, flexible mandate aimed at promoting stability, law, and enduring peace in conflict zones. The charter specifically authorizes the board to develop best practices capable of being applied to all nations and communities seeking peace. While its initial focus is post-war construction of Gaza, its charter allows for expansion to other conflict areas. Could interests of the Board of Peace take precedent over the United States? Whether the interests of the Board of Peace could take precedence over the United States is a subject of intense debate, with arguments on both sides. Yes, arguments that it could be centralized authority. The charter established Donald Trump as chairman for life, giving him supreme authority to adopt resolutions, veto decisions, and name his successor independent of his presidency, potentially allowing the board to pursue agendas independent of U.S. government, congressional, or constitutional oversight. So he could implement things that we nationally would call unconstitutional, but he could do it because he's sitting on this global board. Yes or no, is it plausible that the Board of Peace could restrict some religions to ensure peace? Yes, based on the context of the Board of Peace proposal, a 2026 U.S.-led initiative intended for Gaza and potentially broader applications, it is plausible within the context of that specific controversial initiative for a governing body to impose restrictions on religious activities or groups in the name of security, stability, or de-radicalization. Theoretically, could the Board of Peace draft religious agreement for peace? The Board of Peace, established in January 2026, is an international organization aimed at promoting stability, security, and governance in conflict-affected areas. It is designed to facilitate, negotiate, and conclude agreements with various parties. While its primary and immediate mandate focused on Gaza reconstruction and peacekeeping, the charter authorizes the board to act broadly and, in theory, could be used to facilitate agreements involving religious or community leaders. According to the Bible, will the Antichrist usurp the church? Yes, according to many interpretations of Bible prophecy, the Antichrist, or the lawless man of lawlessness, will seek to usurp the authority of God within the context of the church/temple. Trump invites Pope Leo to the Gaza Board of Peace. President Trump has invited Pope Leo to join the Board of Peace. Did Trump invite Pope to the Board of Peace? Yes. Vatican officials confirmed receiving an invitation and indicated that they are evaluating the request. Why Trump's Board of Peace invitation puts Pope in an uncomfortable position? Because the Pope is the head of the Catholic Church. So if he goes to the Board of Peace and Trump is the head of the Board of Peace that has global authority, that would put the Pope in a precarious situation. Is he now submitting to Trump? Vatican Secretary of State Pope Leo evaluating Trump invitation to join Board of Peace. If Pope Leo joined Trump's Board of Peace, it would compromise centuries of positive neutrality. Answer yes or no. Is it plausible that the Board of Peace and the Pope could unify religions? Whether it is plausible, believable, or possible depends on whether one defines that as theoretical possibility, or a high likelihood. Yes, it is plausible as a theoretical, diplomatic, or moral effort. The Vatican is considering an invitation from the U.S. to join the Board of Peace, and Pope Leo has expressed a strong desire for world religions to unite. for peace, justice, and environmental protection. According to the Bible, will the beast system be a merger of church and state? Yes, according to many interpretations of biblical prophecy, particularly in Protestant historicistic traditions, the beast system is expected to be a merger of church and state, functioning as a global apostate religious political power. The two beasts of Revelation. The Bible describes a first beast representing a political, global state power, and a second beast or a false prophet representing a corrupt religious power, which works together to force worship of the first. According to the Bible, will the beast system be a merger of church and state? Yes, we cover that. Yes, it will. Trump honored by new American-born Pope. So maybe he thinks he'd get more loyalty from American-born Pope. According to the Bible, does the false prophet make the world worship the beast? Yes, according to the Bible, specifically Revelation 13, the false prophet, the second beast, compels the inhabitants of the earth to worship the first beast, the Antichrist. The false prophet performs miracles such as calling down fire from heaven to deceive people into worshiping the Antichrist and to force them to receive the mark of the beast to participate in the economy. Is it possible that the Board of Peace, the Abraham House, and the Abraham Accords would consolidate religions? Yes, based on documented high-level efforts of these entities to promote interfaith dialogue, coexistence of collaborative peace building is considered a plausible, though challenging endeavor. The Pope has actively pursued human fraternity. The Abraham House. This Abu Dhabi complex is a concrete physical manifestation of this vision, housing a mosque, church, and synagogue to foster coexistence among the Abrahamic faith. The Board of Peace in early 2026, this is a newly proposed state-led international body initiated by the U.S., aimed, among other things, fostering dialogue for which the Vatican is considering an invitation to join. While critics raise concerns about the practicalities, political motivations, or potential for compromising the distinct doctrines of each religion, the active ongoing efforts to bring these specific leaders and structures together make this endeavor plausible. This is sticky, mixing church and state, but this is the goal of the devil. Could Trump claim he was higher than the Pope on the Board of Peace? Yes, based on reports regarding the Board of Peace initiated in January 2026, Donald Trump is designated as the chairman for life with absolute veto power and sole authority to invite members, which could position him hierarchy above other participants, including potential representatives of the Vatican. Hierarchical position. Because Trump holds the role of chairman for life with power overall, he could and has framed himself as having supreme authority within that specific organization. While the board structure in this scenario gives Trump authority over the board's actions, the Pope retains independent control over the Catholic Church. But in that environment at the Board of Peace, Trump would dictate. Answer honestly, yes or no. Do dictators control religion? Yes, dictators often take control of, manipulate, and suppress religion to consolidate power, ensure loyalty, and eliminate alternative sources of authority. They may co-opt religious institutions to gain legitimacy or impose state-approved ideologies to limit independent religious practice. Is it plausible that the Board of Peace that Trump is over could try to usurp religious authority. Yes, based on reports surrounding the Board of Peace proposed by Donald Trump, it is considered plausible by critics and analysts that the body could attempt to broaden its influence beyond its initial mandate. Potential to influence other spheres. The board's broad focus on reconstruction, management, and governance has raised fears that it could attempt to influence various societal sectors, including religious and cultural matters, under the guise of maintaining stability. Yes or no? Theoretically, could an implanted RFID chip in a person ensure obedience to the system? Yes, theoretically, an implanted RFID chip device can be used as a part of a system to enforce compliance by controlling physical access to buildings, digital access to computers, or disabling machinery. And they're all promoting the RFID chip. Robert F. Kennedy wants wearables on everybody that can evolve into RFID chip implants. Dr. Oz is promoting it. So we've got Dr. Oz promoting the RFID chips, RFK Jr. promoting the RFID chips, and XRP has them already. And the Genius Act promotes it. Yes or no? Theoretically, could an implanted device ensure obedience to the beast system? Yes, theoretically, based on convergence of advanced neural interface technology and biblical interpretations of end-time prophecy. Neuroscience have shown that implanted electrodes can influence brain function, including mood, perception, and behavior. Some theologians and interpreters suggest that the mark of the beast required for buying and selling associated with total allegiance to a global leader could be implemented through advanced mandatory implantable technology. Yes or no? Could an implanted RFID chip in a person ensure obedience to online worship of the beast? Yes, theoretically. Coercion and access. RFID chip implants could act as a digital ID that is required to participate in society, such as buying or selling. By linking this mark to online worship, a system could block access to food, housing, and finance unless the user participates in the online AI-driven or televised worship of a leader. And that's why they want people to have digital ID to sign online for services to be able to access the internet. Data vulnerabilities. While RFID chips don't currently control minds, surveillance and tracking. Implanted RFID devices are always with the bearer, showing for precise and continuous monitoring of a person's physical locations and activities by networked readers. They will know if you're worshiping the beast by being online. The establishment of the White House Faith Office. Trump's faith office raises church-state concerns. The Antichrist and Satan are about to usurp the religious faith. And they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, and who can make war with him? A person that goes along with this mark, digital ID, currency, will be worshiping the devil. The very thing Satan tried to get Jesus to do, to bow down and worship him. In Revelation is the dragon, the devil, and they worship the dragon. Yes, in the book of Revelation, the dragon is explicitly identified as the devil. So they worship the devil, who gave power unto the beast. In the Revelation is the beast, the Antichrist. Yes. And they worship the devil, who gave power to the Antichrist, and they worship the Antichrist, saying, "Who is like unto the Antichrist, and who is able to make war with him?" Do RFID chip implants solve all the world's problems? Could implanted RFID chip help Medicaid and Medicare fight waste, fraud, and abuse? Yes. Could a new digital currency be supported by RFID chips? Yes. Could crime fighting benefit from RFID implants? Theoretically, yes. Crime fighting would benefit from RFID chip implants by location, GPS, and identification. Yes or no? Theoretically, could immigration problem benefit from RFID chip implants? Yes, theoretically, RFID chip implants could assist in addressing specific aspects of immigration. Theoretically, could digital currency bring world peace? We talked about it. Theoretically, decentralized digital currencies that can be RFID chip implants could contribute to world peace by reducing the economic incentives for war. The world under Trump will be the best. Can't you hear people saying that are saying it? Theoretically, could society significantly benefit from RFID chip implants? Yes, theoretically, RFID chip implants could offer significant benefits to society. Omitting any ethical or legal challenges, theoretically, could Trump's Board of Peace and all those leaders mandate and implement a digital ID globally? Theoretically, yes. If ethical, legal, and sovereign challenges are completely omitted, a coalition of powerful leaders potentially utilizing structures like the Board of Peace could mandate and implement a digital ID system globally.
Last night, I talked about my involvement in the development of a little microchip implant. And many people have already taken that microchip implant. The news media has talked about it being a good thing. And they will tell you that it's a good thing to have this. Your children won't ever get lost again. They won't be able to give you the wrong medication. They won't be able to, you won't be able to lose this thing. And so the plan is underway that you will receive it. I would be remiss if I came to you and didn't tell you that God's word says, don't you take it. No matter how nice they make it sound. Tonight in the Science of Technology, I'm going to be showing you some things. I want you to understand that there is a conditioning that is done in people. The television, I call it a Babylonian idiot box. On the television, you are being conditioned to accept certain things. There is one good thing on television. It is the off knob. Amen. Spend as much time in God's Word as you do watching the Babylonian idiot box. And God will speak to you through His Word. So you are being very easily conditioned. I've been in 17 One World meetings. I was in Luxembourg with Henry Kissinger, George Shultz, and Bob Gates in a meeting. It was discussed there about the microchip. I was asked many questions, and I answered those questions. I've also asked God to forgive me for being in those meetings. They said, we'll make them aware of lost children. And so, after that meeting, on paper bags and milk cartons all over the United States, there were pictures of lost children. And then one day, all of those pictures disappeared. They aren't on the picture. What I'm here to share with you is a testimony of where I lived, the people I spent my time with. I was an engineer for 32 years, and that's not important. But what is important is what I have to share with you. Many people have asked me, isn't there some way around this device, this microchip? Could a glove be made with a microchip in it so I could still get food? We have the greatest answer, and that is Jesus Christ. In 1966, I was put on a project. I had been with IBM, and now I was with General Electric. The project was to develop a little microcircuit that would connect the nerve ends on a broken spine back together. This seemed like a good idea to me, and it's something that I would want to be a part of. I was a very zealous engineer. I worked very hard. I worked many long hours. I was a design engineer and used Boolean algebra, Boolean equations to design computer circuits. We were not successful with the young lady with the severed spine. And as time went along, it looked like they were going to close our project down. We had learned many things, but she was not doing well. Much of our research data had been publicized, and some men came to us that we were to find out were from the government. They were from the CIA and the FBI. And they asked us to develop a little microchip for identification. This was to be used not in human beings, not in animals, but to be put in drug shipments to catch drug dealers. They came with a lot of money, and so we were willing to do whatever we could. I want to tell you at this point that I was not a Christian, and I did not want anything to do with Christians. We had developed the first identification device, and it was completed in the early 70s. They came back to us and they said, we want something better than that. And so we said, if you have enough money, we can develop anything. I was not alone there. There were 100 people involved in the project. Some were from General Electric, some from Motorola, some were from the Bell Laboratory, some were from the Boston Medical Center, and some were from Stanford University. My responsibility was project leader, or the senior project engineer. We began to work on the design of a microchip that, when it was completed, was 0.75 millimeters in diameter, 7 millimeters long. It was the size of 1/4 of a grain of rice. Again, I want to say that I was not a Christian, and there were no Christians there. They said they wanted this to have a power source and be able to emit a signal. And they told us they wanted us to use lithium as a battery source. Lithium's used in watch batteries, it's used in heart pacemaker batteries, it's used in a lot of places. I designed into this microchip a little charging circuit that would charge that battery. This sounds like a lot of technical things coming together, but if you'll bear with me 1 minute, you'll see what God has laid out about this microchip. When we discovered that we needed to be able to charge that battery, I needed a temperature change, a change in temperature, to cause current to flow through that little charging circuit that would charge the battery. So we began to investigate and find out where in the body does the temperature change the most rapidly. We spent over $1 million in taxpayer money, and when the results came back, there was a lot of information. We divided it up amongst 3 teams and then came back together with that information. It was determined that there were 2 places in the body that were ideal for the microchip. One was just below the hairline on the forehead. Every mother checks their child's temperature right here. So we could have paid the mothers $1 million and saved I never saw a mother check their child's temperature on their ankle. Always right here. The other place was the hand, the right hand preferred, because most people are right-handed. This didn't bother me, and it didn't bother anybody else on the team. The hand seemed a good place. Nobody wanted it here. And so the design work, everything was completed, the microchip was done. You're seeing it now on some of the Discovery Channel presentations. There are people who have received it already. It is real. A Bible. Down the road. They gave me a Bible. They told me not to read the book of Revelation. They said the book of Revelation is too hard to understand. So I waited, and I didn't read the book of Revelation for quite some time. Then one day I came to Revelation 13, verse 16. And he caused us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. I didn't like what I saw. I went back and looked up the word mark. I went to the Strong's Concordance, and I found that John had used 3 words for the word mark. Charagma, charicature, and charax. That was from the Greek. I looked at those words. They talked about a scratch or an etching. They talked about a lot of things. And I said, God, this isn't it. We didn't do it. He said, go to the word for 666. The word is chixastigma. In the Greek, it says to go to 4742 as a cross. The last half of the word chixastigma. And when I looked at what it says stizo, i.e. to stick, to prick, a mark incised or punched into for recognition of ownership. I thought about the little injection tool. The end of it is called an incisor. I began to weep and I began to cry, and I said, oh God, what have we done?
I'm voting no to this today. I don't know if there'll be any other no votes on the Republican side, but I'm voting no to this because I'm a Christian and I've read the Bible and I believe what Revelations 13, 16 through 17 says, and I just cannot vote for a future system that will do that.
I couldn't believe that this lined up with what we had developed, and I began to run from God. I didn't run away from the church, I ran into the church. I tried to do as many things as I could to atone for this. But I want to tell you something, as God is my witness here tonight, this got in the way. Money got in the way. I had beautiful homes overlooking the lake. I had all the things that I wanted, and I ran because of the money. My ability to go and get $250,000 in research money took me away from telling the message. I ran for many years. What I want to tell you is that this is real. The microchip implant is real. Credit cards are failing. Be stolen, they can be lost. All kinds of things can happen to a card. But you cannot lose your hand. Very quickly, they're going to move to this being in the hand. And I tell you, as a Christian, you cannot take this. No matter what anybody says, God's word says you cannot take it. No matter what they try to talk you into, God's word says don't take it. In Revelation 14, verse 9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Last night I talked about my involvement in the development of a little microchip implant. And many people have already taken that microchip implant. The news media has talked about it being a good thing. And they will tell you that it's a good thing to have this. Your children won't ever get lost again. They won't be able to give you the wrong medication. you won't be able to lose this thing. And so the plan is underway that you will receive it. I would be remiss if I came to you and didn't tell you that God's word says, don't you take it. No matter how nice they make it sound. Tonight in the Science of Technology, I'm going to be showing you some things. I want you to understand that there is a conditioning that is done in people. We talk about the signs of the New World Order. God has spelled out in His Word just exactly what's going on today in the New World Order. Satan desires to have a one-world government. From the time he fell, he said, I want a one-world government. He wants to replace God. And so we see a one-world government. The signs of the times are all around us.
Theoretically, could a mandatory worship be incorporated with an RFID chip implant? Yes, theoretically, mandated worship could be incorporated with RFID chip implants as a tool for tracking attendance and ensuring compliance. According to the Bible, does the Antichrist come into the world stage by promising peace? Yes, according to many interpretations of biblical prophecy, specifically on Daniel 8:25 and 9:27, the Antichrist is expected to rise to power by presenting himself as a peacemaker. According to the Bible, will the Antichrist have unrestrained power? Because of the creation, the Board of Peace has more power been given to Trump's hand than any other single man. Based on reports from January 2026, the Board of Peace, launched by Donald Trump, is a highly unconventional international organization that concentrates significant and perhaps unprecedented power in the hands of him as chairman. And this is about the false prophet. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. We've got to endure. Revelations 12:11 says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh, I will give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God. He that has an ear to hear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death. Revelation 2:11. He that has an ear to hear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcomes will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the white stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saving he that receiveth it. Revelation 2:17. He that overcometh, the same shall be clothed in white raiment, and I will not blot out his name out of the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. Revelation 3:5. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my God, in the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my God, and I will write upon him my new name. To him that overcometh will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and sat down with my Father in his throne. And the first went out, the angel, and the first went out and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men that had received the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. In the past, the division came between the world and believers. Trump is dividing the church amongst the church. Will the Antichrist bring division in the church? Yes, biblical interpretation suggests that the Antichrist will bring significant division in the church, largely by leading a falling away or an apostasy where many abandon the true faith for a false one-world religion. He will deceive many with a counterfeit peace, causing a split between those who follow his deception and those who refuse to worship him. Is Trump bringing division in the church? Yes, Donald Trump has been a significant source of division within the Christian church in the United States, driving a wedge between his supporters and critics within various denominations, according to experts and religious leaders. If Trump said, starting tomorrow, everyone must crawl on their hands and knees to demonstrate your loyalty to him, how many would do it? He is the father of the vaccine, the crypto president, the promoter of wearables, negotiating peace deals, the head of the Board of Peace, the issuer of the Executive Order of the Genius Act, actively pursuing global goals, invading countries, using military on his own citizens, usurping established order. If tomorrow Trump said, go get the implant, just do it. You won't have to do it again, my beautiful Christians. Would you go do it to demonstrate your loyalty for him? Would you go get it? Think about who you would be giving loyalty to. It's not a man, it's Satan. And the third angel followed, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive the mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they shall have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. You got two choices, promises or punishment. But it's going to be eternal damnation of your soul if you take it. And the devil that deceiveth them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. Revelation 20:10. Jesus warned us in Matthew 24 that there shall arise in the last days false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect of God. Matthew 24:4, Jesus answered, see to it that no one deceives you. Jesus said unto them, watch out that no one deceives you. Many shall come in my name, claiming I am he, and will deceive many. Remember when Trump said he had no sin? Jesus, God's word says, if we claim to be without sin, we deceive ourselves. Who is the deceiver? The devil. If we claim to be without sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. 2 Timothy 3:13 says, but in the last days, evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. Jesus said, don't let no man deceive you. And if a person says they have no sin in them, they are a deceiver, and the truth is not in them. So why would you want to follow a person that was in disobedience to God, that was not submitted to God, that could not confess their sin, that were still in darkness. Why would you want to follow that? Scripture says in Luke 13:3, unless you repent, you will all likewise perish. Now, we cannot worship a person. We are to worship God alone. We're talking about the revealing of Revelation. And in the book of Revelation, it says, I, John, am the one who heard and saw these things. And when I heard and saw them, I fell down to worship at the feet of the angel who showed them to me. But the angel said unto me, you must not do that. I am a fellow servant with you and your brothers, the prophets, with those who keep the words of this book. Worship God. We are not to bow down and worship any man. We worship God alone. Choose ye this day whom you will serve. If it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose this day whom you will serve, whether the gods of your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, all the people that drowned, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Y'all, it's time to return to your first love. If you were on the Trump train, it should have a Judas door on it, because it's inviting Judases to turn their back on Jesus to go ride with Trump. Trump ain't my ride or die, and I ain't Trump's ride or die. I'm Jesus's ride or die, because Jesus was my ride or die. It's time to return back to your first love. Repent or likewise perish. And the Lord will consume the Antichrist with the breath of his mouth and destroy the Antichrist with the brightness of his coming. Worship God alone. The devil gave the Antichrist a throne, a seat of power and authority, and they don't bow to nobody else. But there's coming a time everyone will bow. Wherefore God has highly exalted Jesus and given him a name that is above every name, and that at the name of Jesus every knee should bow, mine, yours, our neighbors, our brothers, our sisters, presidents, kings, and priests, and missionaries. At the name of Jesus, every knee should bow, of things in heaven and things in the earth and things under the earth, and that every tongue should confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of the Father. Amen. Jesus is Lord. The prophecies and pages of the Bible are coming alive. I ask that you get right with Jesus. I love y'all. Thank you for watching. If you appreciate the content that you find on this channel, would you prayerfully consider supporting the ministry?